February 3rd, 1922. The Evening News, San Jose, California. Motion Picture Colony Stirred by New Tragedy by Frank B. Bartholomew, United Press Staff Correspondent, Los Angeles, California, February 3rd. A woman, probably, was responsible for the murder of William Desmond Taylor, detectives believed today. This theory stood uppermost after 24 hours of investigation into the mystery of the shooting of Taylor, whose record as war hero, veteran of the picture industry, and director for famous Players Lasky Company made him an outstanding figure in the Los Angeles motion picture colony. Whether a woman actually stole into Taylor's luxurious home and shot him from behind as he sat at his desk, or whether a lover or relative of some woman did the killing, is one of the unsolved angles of the case, which, coming after the Arbuckle affair, caps a long string of sensations in which motion picture favorites have played a leading part. Only a short time before Taylor was shot, Mabel Normand, motion picture comedian, was at his home. She went there to discuss a picture with him, and he accompanied her to her automobile at the curb. It is believed that the slayer may have slipped into the house unnoticed while Taylor was out. The evidence which leads police to the belief that a woman is back of the shooting is this. Taylor had a record as a British war hero and a charming personality, which made him many friends among the women photo players. As a director for the famous Players Lasky, he had it in his power to deny or satisfy the ambitions of women players for stardom. That the murder was due to jealousy over a love affair is shown by the fact that no attempt was made to rob Taylor's home, although many valuables in the richly furnished room were in plain sight and could have been gathered up in a moment. With all these theories, however, police today admitted that they were little nearer solving the mystery than they were yesterday morning when Taylor's body was found by his valet. In belief that Edward F. Sands, former valet of Taylor, may know something of the shooting, police searched for him. A warrant charging Sands with robbing Taylor has been out for some time, and if he can be found, he will be held on this charge while police investigate the shooting. The first word of the murder of Taylor came yesterday when his valet, Henry Peasy, dashed into the home of Miss Edna Purviance, neighbor of Taylor's, shouting that his master had been killed. Then followed conflicting stories of what happened at the Taylor house the night before. Douglas MacLeod and his wife, whose home adjoins Taylor's, said they heard a shot about 9 p.m. Wednesday night and saw a mysterious man about the Taylor home. They believed at the time that the sound was the backfire of an automobile, but Miss Purviance said that at midnight she saw a light in Taylor's home. Mabel Normand told the police of her last conversation with Taylor just before he had escorted her to her limousine. "I have the strangest and most ghastly feeling that something is going to happen to me," Taylor said to the film star, according to her story to the authorities. "I can't get over a premonition I have," Miss Normand quoted Taylor as saying just before they parted. She described how they had gone over a scenario in which she was to appear, and how Taylor's mind frequently wandered from the subject. "He said goodnight cheerily," the actress declared, "and he promised to call me up before bedtime." February 6, 1922. The Day, New London, Connecticut. Jealousy factor in new search in Taylor tragedy. Prominent New York young man who left Los Angeles on day of murder being sought. Possible motive of jealousy seen. Actress to whom suspect was for long time engaged was close friend of murdered director. Los Angeles, February 6. Jealousy has directed search for a prominent New York young man formerly engaged to one of the stars questioned with regard to the shooting last Wednesday night of William Desmond Taylor, private detectives asserted today. This suspect was reported to have checked out of a hotel here on the day the murder was committed and to have left the city the next afternoon. He is believed by investigators to have headed for San Diego and possibly crossed the border into Mexico. His name is withheld by the police. The actress to whom this suspect was a long time engaged, according to investigators, was a close friend of the slain director. In this friendship, investigators see a possible motive of jealousy, which would lead to murder. Letters written by Mabel Normand to Taylor, which were reported missing after the murder, and evidence concerning the presence, for 6 months at least, of a woman's pink silk nightgown in Taylor's bachelor apartment today, added interest to the case. Going over Taylor's papers in effort to solve mystery. Los Angeles, February 6. Efforts to solve the mystery in the slaying of William Desmond Taylor brought police today to a cutback, a checking of the dead man's papers in the hope of obtaining a better clue than any yet evolved. Deputy sheriffs, municipal detectives, and officials of the motion picture company by which Taylor was employed gathered in the dead director's apartment again, sorting over his letters and documents after a day and night of unusual activities. Last night, the word went forth that an unnamed motion picture actor had been taken to the county jail for questioning, and his testimony had been considered so important that he had been bustled from the motion picture lot where he was at work with such speed that he had not the time to remove the makeup from his face. At the same time, 2 other motion picture employees, one a cameraman, also were taken to jail as possible material witnesses. There was a report that the actor's automobile, a distinctively constructed and painted machine, had been seen near the Taylor apartments the night of the murder. Residents near the Taylor bungalow were unable to identify the actor. He was released, but with instruction to keep in touch with the officers. The men taken as possible material witnesses were also given their freedom. While these matters were developing, tales came to the police of the alleged possession by Taylor of women's silken lingerie, one piece of which, a pink nightrobe, was reported missing from his apartments since his body was found. One witness was said to have stated, but not to the police, that this particular robe bore the embroidered initials of a motion picture actress. Close upon the heels of this information came the report that the police were searching for a drug peddler who, it is alleged, had sought through Taylor to make delivery of drugs to an actress who found it difficult to make her purchase direct. The initials of the actress connected with this phase of the case were said to be the same as those of the nightrobe missing from the Taylor apartments. February 11, 1922, Quebec Telegraph, Quebec, Canada. Rancher thinks a hidden shack harbors sands. While punching cattle, J.M. Cobb discovers lonely abode near Fresno. Occupant admits name. Many daily papers lying around. Mabel Normand is questioned for 3 hours. Los Angeles, California, February 11. A man, who the police stated may be a material witness in the Taylor case, was arrested here today. He was charged with a felony, pending further investigation of the affair, the details of which, with his name, the police declined to divulge. At a session at the district attorney's office last night, Mabel Normand was questioned for nearly 3 hours. Miss Normand, according to District Attorney Woolwine, was unable to add anything to the police data concerning Edward P. Sands, missing former Butler secretary to Taylor, but apparently confirmed the district attorney's belief in the importance of locating him, for he later said, "Sands is the man we must find." Miss Normand was the second film actress of prominence to respond to a summons from Mr. Woolwine, the other being Mary Miles Minter, who was in the official's private office answering questions while the funeral of the director was in progress last Tuesday afternoon. Both Miss Normand and Miss Minter have admitted close friendship with Taylor. When Miss Normand arrived at the district attorney's office, she was accompanied by her chauffeur, William Davis, who drove her to the Taylor home the night the director was killed, and who previously has stated Taylor accompanied her to her automobile when she departed. Davis was also questioned briefly by Mr. Woolwine and his chief deputy, William C. Doran. Before Miss Normand went into the private rooms with Mr. Woolwine and Mr. Doran, she issued a statement to the press in which she said she could not offer solution whatever of the Taylor tragedy and denied she was in love with Taylor or had quarreled with him. 4 detectives were in attendance at the district attorney's office at different periods during the examination of Miss Normand and Davis, and were reported to have started on missions early this morning. A man under surveillance at Fresno was found late yesterday by J.M. Cobb, a rancher who lives on the banks of the San Joaquin River. Cobb told the sheriff the man had been there only a few days and that the shack in which he was living had been built only a few days. While herding cattle, Cobb rode upon the shack, hidden in brush along the riverbank, and also met the occupant. The man gave his name as Sands, according to Cobb, and answered the description of the missing former Taylor butler. A number of the late daily papers were in and around the shack, he said. February 28, 1922. Lawrence Journal World, Lawrence, Kansas. 6 held for movie murder. Raid of narcotic den may uncover solution of Taylor mystery. Los Angeles, February 28. 6 men were arrested here early today in the raid of what police termed a narcotic den. Detectives working on the mysterious slaying February 1 of William Desmond Taylor, motion picture director, questioned the men, and police are reported to be of the belief that the arrests will develop a connection with the murder. Los Angeles, February 28. 2 men were taken into custody by the police here early this morning and were being held for investigation in connection with the slaying of William Desmond Taylor, motion picture director, in his apartments here on the night of February 1. The men, whose names have been withheld by the police, were said to have been members of a bootlegging gang which carried on extensive operations in the Hollywood section. Officers were seeking this morning a 3rd member of the alleged gang who escaped from the house in which the 2 were arrested.